Hi everyone, it's Gaylin, design team member with Unity Stamp Company. Today I have a Thanksgiving or autumn card, and it is filled with beautiful pumpkins and a mug for coffee or tea. I'm a tea lover myself, so I'm just going to make it be a tea card for me, but it's great for coffee lovers out there. It would pair perfectly with a gift card to like Starbucks or somewhere. So I am using Stamps by Unity. One kit is called Fall to Go, that has the mug, and I'm also using a sentiment from the kit called Heart of Autumn. I'm going to begin stamping using the original Misty stamp positioning tool, and I'm going to stamp directly onto the card base for the main mug. Now I put an insert piece of paper inside of that card base before I folded it, just to protect the inside from getting ink blended onto it from the Copics and from the stamping. For the stamping, I'm using Gina K Designs Chocolate Truffle Amalgam ink, and this ink is great and it is Copic friendly. It is wonderful. You can also watercolor with it. I happen to have the brown, so I thought the brown would go better than the black ink for this autumn card. And so once that was all dry and set, I began adding some Copic marker color. I start with light colors for the pumpkin area and I build it up with darker colors. I add color in wispy motions, so I try not to do just a solid coloring. I try to wisp it from one end to the next, like partially, just wisping it upward or wisping it downward, sometimes sideways. I also am doing the same coloring the same way on this extra stamp to the right, the extra pumpkins. That's going to be an accent for the card later on. I'm not going to show that. It's just colored the same way as I did on the cup. So I'm just, and for the sake of time, just showing in the cup coloring. And so you see it gets darker and darker and richer in color. Just what I wanted. And sometimes I go from dark to light. This time I think I mostly went light to dark on this. And now there's some greenery and some flowers. I'm also going to add color to that on the bottom and the top of those pumpkins. I'm going to use the full cup stamp for the inside of the card at the end. And I'm going to use that extra pumpkin that you see there on the right. I'm going to fussy cut that later on, and that will be an accent to the front of the card. And so, you just keep adding the layers however you're comfortable. You don't have to use Copics either. Just make sure whatever markers you're using is compatible with the ink that you're going to stamp with. So now I'm going to use coloring for the cup itself. I initially wanted it to be white, the white cup, but I changed my mind and I wanted it to be a little softer looking. So I'm adding some very light beige colors from the edge inward, just to give it a little bit of a softer look. And then I build that and I add another shade. Actually, I'm adding some shadow toward the bottom also. Then I fill in with a lighter shade towards the middle. So the cup will have darker colors on the sides and the center would be lighter. So there, I'm adding actually a gray, wisping it from outward to the inside there. That just gives it a little more depth, I think, and I'm adding it also to the shadow part on the bottom. Now this card is fine if you just want to stop there and add a sentiment. It is great for a no-layer card or a one-layer card if you're going to add a sentiment, and you could just stop there. I went a next step and I added some Distress Oxide ink around this mug, and all around it I used a ink blending brush in circular motions. I used Distress Oxide ink and Spiced Marmalade. Now I went an extra step and die cut a frame. So I used dies by My Favorite Things. I have a scallop oval stacks dynamic and also a fishtail dynamic for the sentiment. And so I put this through a die cutting machine and you could see the yellow on the front of the panel, and then the main image will be for the back side of the panel. And then I just go ahead and get this ready here. I'm going to re-put in that, I'm going to put the panel, set the panel back into that die cut area, and temporarily tape it down with a very light tape, something that won't tear your paper, like washi tape. I was using painter's tape, but it was used many times, so it is not very tacky. And so you add some adhesive to that oval area, then you close the card, and then that will transfer that stamped panel back to the back side of the card base. And the top would just be an open oval. You can also go one more step and add a sheet of acetate if you'd like, to make it more of a window look, but I just left it open. I also added a sentiment with a little piece of foam tape and that pumpkin with more foam tape right to the front of that panel. It overlaps a little bit into that oval, which I like. You can also cover the back of that pumpkin with plain white cardstock. I did not, and it was fine for me. But there you go. You have a really pretty card for autumn. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you subscribe to my YouTube. Have a great day.